All right, have and have not fans. Now, this is probably going to be the last video I do before the next episode entitled Sugar Mama. And I'm recording this on Saturday night. I don't know what day I'm going to promote it. I mean, I've been doing a different strategy on YouTube, posting one video every several hours as opposed to uploading like 7 or 8 at a time. That way it'll be easier to keep track of when I post stuff. Not to mention with YouTube's, notification stuff. Don't want to mess that up. And also hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. I hopefully feel that you will be happy here. There's a lot of different content in regards to Tyler Perry, and Jim Cryer is holding Terrell up to the wall, so he means business. So you better subscribe, or he'll be coming for you. Anyway, this is a discussion video format, and it's pretty much opening the comment section below for people to pick who would be the best man for Hanna. Now, I'm probably going to have this in like a one picture format where I probably have the 3 candidates up on the screen at once. That way, you could just listen to the video as opposed to having to look at every single second of it to see if the picture changes, just for simplicity's sake. And we're pretty much playing matchmaker for Hanna Young. Who do you feel is the best man for her? And I feel like it comes down to Byron, Michael, and Derrick. Now, you're probably wondering who Byron and Michael are, especially Byron. This is mainly for people who came into the show maybe in season 3, season 4. You don't even know who this guy is. Let me just break it down. Back during the finale of season 1, Wyatt was in a high state, obviously. He had just came from a crack house and was being robbed. And basically, he hopped in his car and through a series of unfortunate events hit little Lizzie, which honestly, I'm not going to lie, I still don't think he did it. He hit little Lizzie with his car and killed her. And then later on, we saw Benny out there with his tow truck, and he got hit and was put into a coma for like the first half of season 2. And then Wyatt came home in his high state, and he came into the kitchen stating that he hit someone. I think I killed a guy. And Hanna was in the kitchen, and Jim yelled for her to get out of there. And then Jim sent Byron to be like a kind of the shadow Hanna. Basically, he was pretending to be like a detective. Well, he technically was, but he was pretending to be somebody who was looking into the case about the hit and run. He wanted to know about Hanna, why was she at the hospital? And, he talked about how his wife was a hit and run victim herself. And the two eventually grew closer. To be honest, Byron actually began to develop feelings for Hanna. This was something that was on the flip side of Michael, who, if you don't remember Michael, because we haven't seen him for quite some time, he is the grandfather of little Lizzie, the girl that was killed in the hit and run. He wanted justice just like Hanna because her son was laying up in the hospital because of this guy. And Michael's granddaughter was killed because of this guy's recklessness. Now, the question is, Michael or Byron, which one would be the one that Hanna would choose? That was kind of like season's 2 little love story in the making. It looks like one person seems to be right for Hanna, but Hanna is ignoring him in favor of the other guy who turns out to be a snake in the grass. It wasn't until I think it was the episode before. It was the episode before the season 2 finale when Hanna gave Byron a phone call to ask if he wanted to come over to her house because since Benny was out of the hospital, they were having like a little, welcome home party. And Celine was actually in the background. Believe it or not, this was when Byron went over to Jim, and pretty much the case was closed. Like his work was done. His job overseeing Hanna basically was like a game of chess. Byron was there to let Jim know if Hanna would go to the police and say that Wyatt was the one that hit little Lizzie and Benny. And if so, he had a guy named Donald that would go on the news with Jim just to say that Wyatt hit him and to get his, get Wyatt off the case. And then later on had a lookalike Norman Hewins take the fall. But basically, when it comes down to it, Jim said, okay, don't see her anymore. And then Byron was, kind of, I guess you could say, uncertain of what to do in that situation. And Jim was like, wait, you like her, don't you? That's when Hanna got the call. Byron got the call from Hanna, and Jim was like, put it on speakerphone. During the conversation, Celine came out of the background, and then Hanna put 2 and 2 together that Byron was working for Jim. And then in the season 3 premiere opening episode, Byron showed up to the cookout or the party, and yeah, Hanna pretty much called him out for being a snake and told him to leave. And that was the last time we saw Byron. Now, when it comes down to it, earlier on in season 2, Hanna asked Byron to look into her grandson, Quincy Jr., just to see if there were any whereabouts on him. Remember, season 2, aside from Benny, it was really hammered in that Hanna wanted to know where her grandson was. It was brought up a couple of times in season 1, but season 2 was when it really was something that Hanna kept, I guess you could say, picking Candace about. Because Candace wanted to know about Benny, but at the same time, Candace wanted to know about Benny, but at the same time, Hanna wanted to know about Quincy Jr., which in a way, I don't know if that was, I mean, I can see why it would be considered fair, because it's like, look, if you don't tell me where my grandson is, I'm not going to tell you where my son is. Or basically, if you don't tell me where your son is, I'm not going to tell you where my son is. But at the same time, that is her brother. So, you know, hey, take that for what it is. Earlier on in the season, aside from Quincy Jr., you can tell that Michael was actually having feelings for Hanna. Like, there was an episode where it was Byron, Hanna, and Michael in Hanna's kitchen. And Byron was trying to, you know, I think this was after Hanna went to the police and said that Wyatt was the one that hit her son and little Lizzie. And Byron was there, you know, getting information, you know, basically to see if he can do anything about it. But we all know he was working for Jim. And afterwards, Michael was walked to his car by Hanna. They gave each other a hug. And Michael went in for a kiss, but Hanna was like, no. What was this? I'm sorry. It's like, I'm just still grieving. And basically, Hanna was like, no. It's all good. But, you know, I don't know what this is. Let's not do it. And then at the same time, she was falling for Byron because they almost kissed. I think this is after she got the news that Benny was at a hospital and he was doing better. So there was that. And they almost kissed. They almost. But then later on at the end of the season, Byron turned out to be a snake and Hanna put him to the side and we never saw him again. Michael at the beginning of season 3, he was a little tipsy. And it was a sweet moment because Hanna was trying to cheer him up. But at the same time, you know, he just lost his granddaughter. Basically, you know, Hanna was trying to comfort him. He went inside, was a bit drunk, and slept in Hanna's bed because, you know, he was a bit too drunk to go home. The next morning, Hanna's getting ready for work. Her and Michael have a moment. Looks like they're actually about to have sex, which is ironic because she told Derrick she was waiting until marriage. But then Benny walked in and ruined that moment, and that was that. But basically, we only saw Michael one more time, and that was towards the end of, what was it, season 3 or 4? Basically, it was when Hanna was trying to get Benny and Michael to sue the Criers after the hit and run, but Hanna came into the living room of Candace's house and broke up the meeting. Michael being embarrassed because he didn't know that, you know, this was some sort of revenge plot. He just thought it was, you know, just to get justice, and that was the last time we saw Michael again. Enter Derrick in season 5, who is the love interest for Hanna right now. I don't really want to get into it. I mean, this isn't me being lazy, but you all know, if you've been on this channel, you know I've done at least 12 videos on Derrick. Not counting the whole lion tattoo theory, he does seem like a great guy for Hanna, but now we know he has a criminal past. Let me just put it this way. Out of Byron, Derrick, and Michael, if I had to pick one of these 3, and again, this is my personal opinion, that's why I'm doing this video, to open a discussion. In the comment section, you can let me know which one of these 3 men do you feel will be the best for Hanna. I feel that Michael would be the best man for Hanna. Like, you know, back during season 2, there are memes going around about, you know, hey, Hanna, will you let me cut your lawn? Because he cut her grass. Because remember, in season 2, like every day, she was at the hospital with Benny, and Benny was the one that cut the grass. And, you know, in order to make it look like to the neighborhood that she doesn't upkeep her house, Michael, you know, cut the grass for her. That was really sweet. I'm going to be honest here. I wanted Byron to show up. I remember doing theories about it. I thought if there was anything that Byron could do in order to get back on Hanna's good side, or at least redeem himself, would be to follow up on the case to find her grandson, Quincy Jr. Yeah, we eventually know that Benny did it himself, but I really thought that would have been a great way to bring Byron back into the story. Like, maybe Hanna and Michael start going out, but then Byron brings the Quincy Jr. back, and then all things seem to be good. But that's not the case. That's not how it went, unfortunately. So Byron is I don't think we're going to see him again. I thought the Quincy Jr. mystery of finding out where her grandson was the way to write him back into the show. Unfortunately, that was all done for. So Byron, I feel he had his chance, but that was it. When you really think about it, though, remember that Byron was placed in his position with Hanna by Jim to get information. Kind of like how Erica was placed in her position with David by Candace to get the money. Byron ended up having real feelings for Hanna, but when he was discovered, he was kicked to the curb. Now you look at David's situation. If he finds out the truth about Erica, who seems to be getting real feelings for him, as Veronica called her out for, will she be kicked to the curb when David finds out about, if he finds out about that before, she breaks his heart? But we'll just have to wait and see. That's an entirely different subject. I feel like Derrick is the opposite of Michael. Well, then again, Michael was a straightforward like Derrick as well. It's just that Hanna was able to put him in his place, and then things seemed to be going well, and then Benny was annoyingly in the way just like he is now. I feel that with Derrick, though, we've had more screen time between the two consistently. It's like almost every episode there's a scene between the two. Not to mention they kind of work together. Hanna works at Catherine's house, and Derrick is like a maintenance man at a lot of houses within the Haves community. So I will say that even though Derrick does seem like a great guy, despite whatever his past may be, I feel like Michael is the right person for Hanna, just because those two click so well due to the fact that Hanna was trying to comfort. Both of them met under very, very unfortunate circumstances in a hospital. The fact that they're both, Hannah's son and Michael's grandchild were both put in almost at death's door. Unfortunately for little Lizzie, that was the case, at death's door due to, the hit and run incident. And then it turned out that Michael lost his grandchild and Hanna tried to comfort him. And then, unfortunately, Hanna lost her grandchild. And I wish Michael was brought back into the story, because they could have found each other in their own grief. And I feel that would have been a great way to give Hanna some happiness. It would have been a time for healing, love, and a new sense of life within the two. I know I'm really going into it, but I feel like Michael would have been the perfect person for Hanna. That's just my opinion. Derrick seems like a great guy. Byron could have been written back within a redemptive arc with the whole Quincy Jr. thing, but didn't. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Michael, Derrick, Byron, which one of these three do you feel is the right person for Hanna? Do you have like a fourth or fifth candidate, a man I didn't mention in this video? What about the ultimate choice of Hannah's better off by herself with God? Who knows? But I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Literally, this channel is full of great videos just like this one. I know you won't be bored. So share this around. Can't wait until next Tuesday's episode, and I'll talk to you soon.